Good afternoon, folks. And for those of you guys who tuned in to the Zoom meeting earlier in the day at 10:30, thank you for doing that. It helped me a lot. If it didn't help you, it at least helped me a lot in getting used to the Zoom interface. All right, jumping into today's lesson. Today's lesson should be pretty straightforward. Um, I would say tomorrow is where there's going to be a slightly challenging um, lesson. It's going to have to do with solving systems of equations. You guys have used to in IM1, we're used to solving systems of equations with two variables. Tomorrow we're going to do it with three. Today, actually, we're going to start off, we're going to end off the lesson with doing a three variable system of equation, but we're going to start off easy. Okay, so anyways, I got a little sidetracked there. Let's talk about what's on the screen that you see right now. What you see right now is basically verifying whether or not two matrices two matrices are inverses of each other. So if you look right here on the screen, okay, um, I'm at this area right here. If you multiply both matrices together and you get a diagonal line of ones, okay, um, from the top left to the bottom right, if that is your result, then both matrices are inverses of each other. So basically, if your result looks like this, okay, if we're talking about 2 by 2 matrices, if you get 1 and a 1, a diagonal line again from the top left to the bottom right, um, if you get a result that looks like this, uh, then then you have an inverse. So a diagonal line again for the third time of ones from the top left to the bottom right, and everything else is zeros. Then those matrices are inverses. And also verify that when you flip the product around and do b times a, you also get the same thing. Okay. And now in a 3 by 3 matrix, if you multiply a 3 by 3 matrix, okay, then you will get the inverse, the final product after multiplying should be a 1, 1, and a 1, okay? And then everything else 0. So it should look something like this for 3 by 3. 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, okay? And that is when you know when two 3 by 3 matrices are inverses, okay? If your result looks like that. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and put these two in your calculator like I showed you yesterday. You can rewatch yesterday's videos, or video, I should say, to see if to recap on how to multiply matrices. I think it's pretty straightforward and you probably remember how to do it. But multiply these two and see if you get this, okay, when you multiply A times B, and vice versa, this when you do B times A. Okay, so you should get these results to verify that you know how to, number one, multiply it and get an inverse, which should match up like this. Okay. Now here is here are practice problems for you guys to do also. Okay, so when you're done with this, okay, go ahead and do these. Okay, right here. All right, and I'll put the answers up on a PDF. Okay. Um, I'm gonna keep moving, and if you need time to do this, you can just pause the video. Um, the next slide is gonna have to do with what if you only know A, okay? Let's say you only know A and you want to find B. That you want to find the inverse. So previously we were verifying if both of these were inverses, but now we're actually trying to find the inverse. Okay? So verifying if they are inverses, this should be your product. Okay? But what if you're trying to find B? What if you're trying to find the inverse of A? Okay? There's a formula for that. Okay? And that is what we're doing in the next slide. If you know A, how do you get B? That's basically what the next slide has to do with. Okay? So here we go. Next slide. So here's basically a formula. Okay? Here's basically a general formula. A, B, C, D. Okay? And this little -1 exponent means inverse. Okay? So the inverse of a 2 by 2 matrix, okay, you just follow this formula right here. Okay, so let's see it in action over here. Let's see it in action. Okay, so let's use that formula. I think I'm actually going to, I mean, this basically lays it out, but I'm going to write it in my own way over here so that, so I think it's more intuitive. Okay, now watch this. Okay, this is going to be, this is going to be A. Okay, this is B, this is C, and this is D. Okay, so let's follow this formula over here. A times D, okay, we follow this formula over here, okay, A times D is going to be 3, okay, times 2, okay, and B times C is going to be 1 times 4, okay, and so that takes care of this right here, okay. Now let's go ahead and take care of this blue highlight over here, okay. Let's take care of that blue highlight. Now, this is just a rearrangement of things, okay. Rearrange a couple things, and then we switch up the signs of a couple other things. Okay, so the first thing we do, let's do the easy part. Let's switch up the signs of B and C, okay. Switch up the signs. So here it was +1, +4. Let's make it -1, -4. Okay, all right. And now A and D, look, they just got switched up. Okay, they just got switched up. This used to be A, this used to be D, now they just got switched. So instead of 3 and 2, I'm going to put 2 and 3. Okay, and that's the hardest part, folks. We're done with the heavy lifting from here on out. As I always said before, let's just cash that check and get that money. Okay, so now we got 1 over, this is 6, this is 4, 6 minus 4 is 2, okay, and now we get 2, -4, -1, 3. I just literally copied the 2 by 2 matrix to the left, okay, and I'm going to multiply this 1/2. I'm basically going to distribute that, okay, and you are going to get 1, -2, -1, 3. Okay, I should have went in a capital Z order. This. It doesn't matter. The reason I should go in a capital Z order is because I want to line it up with A, B, C, D here and A, B, C, D. I want to match up what I verbally talk about with what's written over here. Okay, um, and totally screwed up. Sorry about that. Okay, this equals to 1, -2, -0.5, okay, and 1.5, okay, and this matches, okay, what you see right here matches with that, okay. Now you can practice and you can use this same formula, okay, on A over here. Use that same formula on A and you can get B, okay, and you will get B if you've done it correctly, okay. Anyhow, here are some practice problems here. Okay, here's some practice problems. One of them is going to be no inverse. Okay, it's going to give you no solution. Excuse me, it's going to give you undefined. Okay, for this fraction, which makes it no solution for this which makes it no solution for the whole problem, which makes it no inverse. Okay, so if you get a 0 for that, that means 1 over 0 is undefined, okay, which means there is no inverse basically. So one of these problems on the screen is going to be that, okay? All right, you can pause the video if you need, well, you will need more time, but I'm going to move on, and you can pause the video or look at the PDFs for these problems. Okay, moving on to the third and last part of today's lesson. Okay, It is right over here, and this is honestly something that I can teach like an IM1 student. Okay, so let's pretend we have a three variable system of equation. Okay, this we're starting off light and easy. Okay, this one is so easy they gave you z already. Okay, so well, what the heck do you think you do with z? Okay, well let's plug z in right there. Okay, and that's how they got to this. Okay, that's how they got to this portion. Okay, they plugged in z there. And now, after that, you get y equals to -1 after you solve that. Okay? And once you get y equals to -1, then you plug it in to this equation. Okay? And remember, z, we already know. Okay, let me change my colors here. I'm going to change it to blue. Z, excuse me, -1 gets plugged in here. And z we already know because that's given to us. And now you can solve for x. Okay, and so now we have, at the very end, we get x equals to 2. Well, we get this answer right here. Okay, and that's from, I think you already know where I'm going with this, and that's from these three green highlights. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so basically start what's given, plug it into the equation, with two variables. Okay, then when you're done with, when you find out the second variable, plug both variables into the equation with three variables. Okay, and that's the third part of today's lesson, and those are the problems I want you guys to do. Okay, that wraps up today's lesson, folks. Very straightforward, very easy, in my opinion. Tomorrow's will be slightly more challenging. Okay, so get prepared to do something kind of new tomorrow. Okay, I can't say it's yeah, actually it is kind of new, and I say kind of because it's not completely. It's built on prior knowledge, so it's a little hybrid of both. Okay, well that concludes today's lesson. Look for the PDF if you want a PDF version of this and the answers. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in.